So welcome back to the channel and welcome to my first ever TV review. This is something I've wanted to do for a while, talk about television and different shows that are going on, review them and think what could be coming up today. What better series to start than The Last Kingdom? Our favourite medieval show is back. Uhtred of Bebbanburg returns today. We're reviewing all the first 4 episodes up to the Battle of Tettenhall. Now, quick AO, obviously there's going to be spoilers in this video, so if you don't want to know what happened so far, don't keep going. That would be a rookie error right there. But let's dive into it, beginning with episode 1. We begin with the news that Bebbanburg is weak. Beaten by multiple occasions, the Scots, Aethelflaed is struggling and in search of men, and Uhtred sees this as a prime opportunity to return to his homeland. However, without Alfred, Edward isn't quite as willing as maybe it was first thought, as he refuses, as he claims, to be bent to any man's will. It appears that maybe the Lord Aethelhelm is having more of an impact on court than it first appeared, and it looks like the old guard of Beocca and Eardwulf, their power may just be waning. We do also meet, in this first episode, Uhtred's son, young Uhtred, or Oswald, who has been converted, not to a priest, but to a monk, and Uhtred is not impressed by that, leading to a fiery start, but their relationship is certainly an interesting one, and one that will no doubt develop in the coming episodes. Fast forward to episode 2, and tensions have begun to rise, both at court and between Uhtred and his son. Their journey has begun north, but that's not where our focus begins. Cnut has begun his raid on Mercia, ravaging through the country, whilst Aethelred, is although Aethelwald, rest in peace that man, but Aethelred is out hurting himself, thinking that the Danes had left for Ireland. His new advisor, Eardwulf, has been tricked by the slippery Haston, but that is not the key point of this episode. The pinnacle of it is the attack on Bebbanburg, where 2 major deaths take place. Firstly, we have the loss of Father Beocca, one of the oldest characters in the series, a level-headed, experienced priest who has been with Uhtred since day 1. His loss is no doubt going to have a major effect, similar to Gisela and Ragnar in the previous season, and is probably going to drive Uhtred a lot in the upcoming years. Secondly though, we see probably the more surprising of the two, the death of Aethelflaed. Now, Aethelflaed was killed not by Uhtred, but by his son Wihtgard, bringing to it a new villain to Bebbanburg, and a new villain that will no doubt bring it along to season number 5, considering the fact that I don't believe he's returning for any more of the episodes in season 4. However, a new villain has arrived, but ultimately it's all fruitless as Bebbanburg remains in the hands of the enemy. In episode 3, Uhtred continues to struggle with the death of Beocca. Finan begins to pull him out of it. Meanwhile, Cnut continues to fight through Mercia, with news finally reaching Ethelred, putting Eardwulf's head and cock on the line, as the new king of Mercia is not impressed in the slightest. Meanwhile, Uhtred crossed paths with Haston, the slippery Dane, still alive but almost not for long, and a passing word and almost leads to his death, but he lets him live in exchange for information. The news that it was Cnut that there was the man that led Ragnar's downfall. Haston is let free, but Cnut's sons are taken by Uhtred, who begins to ride to Aylesbury, preparing for battle. Finally, the tensions begin to rise as we reach episode 4. Uhtred and Aethelflaed are quickly on the back foot as Beowulf is sent by Cnut to kidnap the Lady Aethelflaed, and it looks as he might just do it until Uhtred arrives on the ramparts with Cnut's sons, threatening to kill them if he doesn't leave immediately. A body is thrown over the ramparts, but it is not one of Cnut's sons. However, Beowulf doesn't believe that and is killed as punishment by Cnut. Meanwhile, in Wales, Father Beocca has been sent in an effort to try and get support of the Welsh at the Battle of Tettenhall. Whilst it wasn't Edward's blessing that sent him, they would certainly become a huge asset later on in the episode. And we fast forward to the battle, the main event of these first 4 episodes of the Battle of Tettenhall. They look outnumbered as Cnut's 1,000-men army quickly charge upon them, but are taken out by the trap laid by Uhtred. They look like they're beginning to get slaughtered, but they're still looking strong, and it may just have been the Danes' day if it hadn't been for the arrival, both late to the party to be fair, of both Ethelred and Edward's armies. However, it didn't come without cost. I felt that Aldhelm was going to be the man taken down, especially when himself and Aethelflaed were surrounded. But it was in fact Sturpa that took the hit on today's episode. The old man has been around since season 2, a seasoned warrior, but today he fell in battle. Ethelred also took a major hit, while Breda kills Cnut as she finds out that it was him that plotted Ragnar's death after all, bringing to an end the first 4 episodes. She is taken as prisoner, and Uhtred, for a time at least, overall then, the first 4 episodes of Season 4 of The Last Kingdom have been a resounding success, showing exactly why Netflix is still on top of the game, with well-crafted fight scenes, brilliant new characters, and just a great all-round plot. Now, I can't wait to see where this series goes next, with both the death of Cnut and Aethelflaed in quick succession. There's going to have to be a lot of big changes, especially at the Danish camp, where we have now lost Cnut, Ragnar, and Bloodhair in very quick succession. But before that, we're going to count down our big 3 deaths of the season so far. Now, sadly, there's going to be no spot for Sturpa taking the number 4 role, but in at number 3, we have the redhead Dane. It's going to be Cnut. His death at the hands of Bruder is really going to change the game, and as I can't see Heston being the man to take over the mantle and lead that 1,000-man Danish army, it's likely that we'll see a new antagonist in the series. Meanwhile, at number 2, we saw the arrival of Whitguard. He's going to be crucial, but we also see the death of Alfred, and not at the hands of the man that we thought. Uhtred didn't kill him, but he came pretty close at least. And of course, we have a whole new rivalry between Uhtred and Whitguard. They're cousins, but I can't see any bond forming anytime soon, as proved by the death of Beocca. His loss in the 2nd/3rd episode was a huge hit to the series. The father figure, not just for Uhtred, but a supporter like the likes of Alfred, he is going to be a major loss to the series. I don't see anybody that can replace him, which shows how much of an impact his death is going to have. He's joined Taylor, and I can't see Finn nor Father Pierlig stepping into his boots anytime soon. So it's going to be a big gap that I don't know how it could ever really be filled. I can't see Elspeth doing it, that's for certain, but it's going to be interesting to see where the series goes from here. Now, in terms of characters that I thought would die but didn't, Alhelm is going to take that spot. I thought he was a goner, but as I said earlier, it was Stepper that took the hit in that scenario. And finally, the last thing to think about is who could fall soon, and my money, I've got to say, is going to be on either Citric or Baby Mug. Uhtred hasn't lost one of his men since Clapper in Season 2, and whilst we lost Halleck and Leofric in quick succession, it's been a long time since one of them has fallen. Finnan is such a fan favourite, I can't see him dying. Meanwhile, Baby Mug may have been slightly replaced by the arrival of young Uhtred. It'll be interesting to see where that development goes. And finally, the final piece of business for today, a little Easter egg that you may not have noticed, but it could be very important, and that was in episode 2, where they introduced Aethelstan, Edward's bastard, as the first king of England. Now, that could have a very interesting plot effect moving forward. It'll be interesting to see that they've set up a whole, probably Season 5, Season 6, to where this can go next. Now, obviously, interestingly, in Vikings, their kind of, not rival show, but comparative show, Aethelstan is killed by his mother, Judith, allowing Alfred to rise to the crown. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens from here, but I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you want to see more TV-related content in the future, and until then, subscribe. Peace.